The letter was dated 1826. The name on it was his, not similar, not close, exactly the same. And it was waiting for him, in an apartment he had never seen, in a city he had never lived in. Some things are inherited, not money, not property, something else, something older. This is the story of a debt that does not disappear with time. Ethan Cole never believed in fate. He believed in timing, coincidence, and probability. In emails, deadlines, rent payments, and late-night takeout. In the predictable rhythm of a life that made sense as long as you didn't ask too many questions. New York suited that mindset perfectly. Fast, loud, indifferent, until the email arrived. It came from a law firm in London. Subject line, estate transfer. Urgent response required. Ethan almost deleted it. Spam was more common than opportunity. But something subtle made him open it. Inside was a message informing him that a distant relative had passed away. No siblings, no children, no one else to inherit except him. An apartment in London, old, unclaimed, now legally his. He read the email twice, then a third time. It didn't make sense. He had no family in London, none that he knew of. He called his mother. "Do we have relatives in England?" A pause. Then, "Not really, not really." Another pause. "Your grandfather mentioned something once. Long ago, but it wasn't important." "What did he say?" "I don't remember exactly. Something about a brother who left, or was sent away. It was never clear." That was enough. Curiosity is a quiet force. It doesn't push. It waits. 2 weeks later, Ethan stood in front of a narrow building in London. The street was older than anything he had ever known, not just in structure but in presence. Stone instead of glass, silence instead of noise. Even the air felt heavier, as if it remembered things. The apartment was on the second floor. The key turned with resistance. The door opened slowly. Inside dust, not chaos, not decay, just stillness, like a place that had been waiting. Furniture covered in white sheets, bookshelves untouched, a clock that had stopped at some forgotten hour, and the smell, not unpleasant, just old. Ethan stepped inside carefully, closed the door behind him. For a moment he simply stood there, listening. Nothing. Then he noticed something on the table, a single envelope, yellowed with age, perfectly placed, as if it had been left there recently. He approached slowly, picked it up. The paper was fragile, but intact. The handwriting was precise, deliberate, old-fashioned, and the name, Ethan Cole. His hands froze. His mind rejected it instantly. Impossible. This was a mistake, a coincidence, a trick of perception. But the name did not change. He turned the envelope over. Wax seal, unbroken, and below the name a date. October 14th, 1826. The room felt different, not colder, not darker, just aware. Ethan laughed quietly, nervous. This is insane. He placed the letter back on the table, walked away, then stopped. Because something inside him refused to let it go. He turned back, picked it up again, and this time He broke the seal. The paper inside was thin, fragile, written in the same precise hand. He unfolded it and read. To the one who carries my name, if this letter has reached you, then time has failed to do what I once hoped. It has not erased what was done. It has not forgiven what was taken. And now it has found you. Ethan's breath slowed. Each word felt deliberate. Measured, heavy. You do not know me, but you are bound to me. By blood, by name, by debt. The word stayed in his mind. Debt. In the year 1826, I made a choice that secured my survival and condemned every man who would come after me. Ethan stopped reading. His chest tightened. This was absurd. A story. An old letter. Nothing more. He looked around the room again. Everything was still. Silent. Unmoving. Then he continued. I took something that was not meant to be taken. Not gold. Not land. Something older. A faint sound echoed from somewhere deeper in the apartment. A floorboard. Or something else. Ethan turned. Listened. Nothing. He looked back at the letter, and in doing so I became invisible. To something that does not forget. The air in the room shifted. Subtle, but undeniable. It does not hunt quickly. It waits. It allows generations to pass, until the debt feels distant enough to be ignored. Ethan swallowed. Then it returns. The floor creaked again. Closer this time. Ethan stood up, heart beating faster. Hello? No answer. The apartment was empty. He looked back at the letter. If you are reading this, it has already found you. Silence. Ethan stepped back, slowly. This is not real. But something inside him disagreed, because for the first time in his life, he did not feel alone in a room. Turning point. That night he didn't sleep, not because of fear. Not exactly, but because something had shifted. The world no longer felt closed. He walked the apartment again. Every room, every corner. In the bedroom he found a mirror. Old, clouded, and for a moment, just a moment, his reflection did not move when he did. He froze. Then it corrected. Normal again. He stepped back. No. But the word had no weight. He returned to the table. Read the final part of the letter. You will begin to notice it slowly. Reflections that hesitate. Sounds that do not belong. The sense of being observed when no one is there. Ethan closed his eyes, because all of it had already begun. Do not run. It does not follow distance. A whisper. Behind him. Not loud. Not clear. But real. He turned instantly. Nothing. But the air felt occupied. There is only one way to end this. His hands trembled slightly now. Return what was taken. Ethan's voice was quiet. How? The room did not answer, but something inside him did, because the truth had already begun forming. The next morning, Ethan sat in front of the letter. No fear now. Only clarity, because he understood something simple. This was never about the past. It was about continuation. The debt had not followed him randomly. It had followed him precisely. Name, blood, lineage, not coincidence, selection. And the final line of the letter, the one he had avoided, waited for him. He read it slowly. The thing I took was not an object. It was a place, a space that was not meant for us. Ethan's chest tightened, and now it is not asking for it back. It is asking for someone to take its place. Silence. Not empty. Expectant. Ethan looked up, and for the first time, he saw it. Not clearly, not fully, but enough. A shape, standing in the corner, watching, patient, waiting. Not for him to run, but for him to understand. He thought he had inherited an apartment, but what he really inherited was a place in something that never leaves.